Howdy mates, top of the morning to ya. Today marks Sunday, July 12th, 2026. I had to think about my dates there for a moment. The day remains rather gorgeous because it is mostly sunny with a gentle breeze, signifying that summer is here. Thank you, Seals and Crofts. Anyway, aside from that, welcome to the region of Cape Cod, which is the peninsula that often symbolizes coastal Massachusetts. I always like to think of it as Massachusetts' attempt at going to the gym, because it's like the shape of a curled arm. But this particular destination, I'm at what is known as the Sandy Neck, which is basically near Barnstable, which is kind of like in the lower part of the peninsula. So essentially, what we're looking at is Cape Cod Bay, but it still is essentially part of the Atlantic Ocean. But I have come to realize that Cape Cod's diversity in terms of its landscape or even topography, it's quite fascinating, because looking here, we have this extensive ecosystem that is known as a back dune. So essentially, much of this sand has taken a number of years to be deposited here. And eventually, that would allow for vegetation to grow. However, the vegetation that does grow here is very particular. It has to be sand and salt spray tolerant, which for many plants, that's already a very challenging sort of environment to inhabit. But for the most part, some examples of what you see in this particular instance, there's a plethora of American beach grass, which is here. It actually feels very smooth to the touch, and they do have extensive roots that go downward into the dune itself. But then another particular shrub that has really stood out today is this one right here. So this is known as the northern bayberry. So I believe this one is actually a male northern bayberry, because I'm not seeing any of the fruits on it, whereas a female does. But fascinatingly, the northern bayberry is a native shrub, so that is the good news. And it's by far one of the most symbolizing, because they produce these little fruits that are like waxy, and they've often been used for foraging, especially among the Wampanoag tribes that have inhabited here for millennia, as well as the fact that they've been used for candle production too, given their waxy characteristic. So what makes this even more interesting is the fact that if you were to go south of, say, Virginia, the northern bayberry often gets replaced by a counterpart, which is known as the wax myrtle. And given that I have done films and resided down in Florida for a time, wax myrtle is quite abundant down that way. So it's basically like the same type of plant, just a different species. But just to have the opportunity to really get to spend some time in Cape Cod, I can understand now, like, why it's so appealing for visitors from all over. Because it's like you feel as if you're in a tropical region, but yet it's still very temperate. And that's just so cool to me. And for those of you who may be wondering, how does Cape Cod get its name? Well, it's from the fact that one of the most well-known English explorers, or at least recognized anyways, by the name of Bartholomew Gosnold, as he made his way into what is now known as Provincetown, he noticed that as they were fishing, the Atlantic Cod was quite abundant. Though I think in this modern time, their population is way less than it was, say, over 400 years ago. But due to that reason, Cape Cod bears that name. So nonetheless, do hope that you guys enjoyed this film as much as I have also enjoyed producing it, because I just had no idea that, like, Cape Cod in general is so diverse. It's incredible. So, alright, you guys, have a good one. See you later. Journey on a Journey is onwards.